It didn't start as a tense dinner. That's what made it easier on everyone. Plates were passed around. Small talk filled the gaps. The kind of familiar rhythm that makes people comfortable enough to recycle the same conversations they've had for years. My aunt asked about work. My cousin joked about getting married just to put an end to the questions. Then, like it always did, the focus drifted toward me. So my dad said, leaning back in his chair like he was about to deliver something clever, still living alone. A few smiles around the table. Nothing sharp yet. Yeah, I said. Still working. He nodded slowly, like he was building toward something. At your age, most men have a family by now. There it was. Someone chuckled. My uncle added, or at least someone to cook for them. More laughter. Light. Acceptable. I kept my face neutral. This part wasn't new. It had been happening in different forms for years. Phrased as concern, disguised as humor, always ending up in the same place. You've got too much freedom, my dad continued. That's the problem. No responsibility. That one got a bigger reaction. A few louder laughs. Someone tapped the table. I looked down at my plate for a second, not to avoid it, just to give myself a moment to think clearly, because what he said wasn't wrong in their version of reality. They didn't see the transfers, the rent receipts, the quiet arrangements that never made it into conversation. They saw what I let them see. My dad leaned forward slightly, smiling now, enjoying the attention. You're a grown man with no family, he said. What a failure. This time the laughter came faster. Less hesitant. I let it settle. No rush, no reaction. Then I looked up. Funny, I said, keeping my voice even, coming from someone whose rent I've paid for 6 years. It didn't land all at once. There was a half-second where people thought it was another joke. A few smiles lingered, then they started to fade. My dad blinked like he hadn't heard correctly. What? I didn't repeat it with emphasis. I just clarified. I've been covering your rent since you left your last job, I said. Every month. Silence doesn't usually feel physical, but it did then. Like the air shifted, and no one wanted to move too quickly inside it. My aunt looked at my dad. My uncle stopped mid-motion with his glass. My cousin's expression changed, first confusion, then something closer to understanding. That's not, my dad started, then stopped. He didn't have a version of this conversation prepared. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't lean forward. I didn't try to make it bigger than it already was. I never brought it up because it didn't need to be discussed, I said. It was just something that needed to be handled. No one laughed now. My dad's posture changed slightly, less relaxed. His shoulders pulled in just enough to notice. You're making it sound like, he tried again. I'm not making it sound like anything, I said. I'm just saying it out loud for the first time. That was the difference. Not accusation, not emotion, just visibility. Another pause stretched across the table, longer this time. People were recalibrating, trying to fit this new information into the version of me they were used to. It didn't fit. I reached for my glass, took a sip, set it down carefully. And that ends tonight, I added. That part landed immediately. My dad looked at me fully now, not dismissive, not amused. You can't just, he said. I can, I replied, still calm. And I am. No one interrupted. Not to defend him, not to question me. Because this wasn't an argument anymore. It was a statement tied to something real, something measurable. Rent doesn't respond to opinions. I didn't stay much longer. There wasn't anything left to say that wouldn't turn it into something else, something louder, messier, easier for them to dismiss later as a scene. I wasn't interested in that. I stood up, thanked my aunt for the meal, nodded at the others. My dad didn't stop me. I'm not sure he knew how. Outside, the air felt quieter than usual. Or maybe I just wasn't carrying the same noise with me. The call started the next day. First, my mom, careful tone, trying to understand without asking directly. Your father's just surprised, she said. You should have talked to us. I'm talking now, I replied. A pause. This isn't how family works, she said. I thought about that for a second. I think this is exactly how it's been working, I said. Just not out loud. She didn't have an answer for that. My dad called later. No greeting, no build-up. You embarrass me, he said. I leaned back in my chair, phone against my ear, looking at nothing in particular. I didn't say anything that wasn't true, I replied. That's not the point. Another pause, shorter this time, sharper. You owe your family support, he said. That word sat there between us. I've been supporting you, I said. That's not changing. The terms are. Silence again. Not confusion this time. Adjustment. The next month, I didn't send the payment. No reminder came, not immediately. When it did, it was different. Not assumed. Not expected. Requested. I read the message, let it sit, then replied with a number. Smaller. Structured. Defined. Not open-ended. Not indefinite. Nothing dramatic happened after that. No apologies, no big reconciliation. Just a shift. Conversations became more careful, less certain. My role in the family stopped being something invisible and started being something considered. Not always comfortably, but clearly. I still go to dinner sometimes. The jokes are different now, or maybe just quieter. No one calls me a failure anymore. Not because they suddenly see me differently, but because they understand finally that I see myself clearly enough not to carry that for them.